در این قسمت شما حقایق وحشتناکی را میشنوید که چگونه جمهوری اسلامی به آمریکا کمک میکرده ظاهراً که طالبان را تحویل بده و در جنگ افغانستان کمک هایی که انجام شده اینها توضیح میدند. اینها هم گروه دیگری از لابیستای جمهوری اسلامی هستند که سعی میکنن افکار مردم و ما را متزلزل کنن به بهانه اینکه آمریکا در حال صحبت است با جمهوری اسلامی.
Plans don't go to the executive branch until things are getting close. I don't think the election has affected it. There is, what I have done most of, trying to explain how the administration has got where I think they are.
این آقای سم گاردنر هست که ادوایزر به اصطلاح مشاور پنتاگونه. نفر اول دست راست آقای تاماس پیکرینگ، امبسادور تاماس پیکرینگ، که فکر میکنم تنها کسی باشه که با بقیه ها مخالف بود و بیشتر هم عقیده ما ایرانیان آزادی خواه است.
The military option not on the table, but on the vice president's desk.
On the vice president's desk. What does that mean?
Can we be specific? No, literally, from press reports, good journalists, we know that the military have done their thing with the plan, and the plan has gone to the vice president's office.
Remember, the plan, that's, you have plans for lots of things.
Right. You're saying this is different. This is different. Plans don't go to the vice president. That's an open course.
So your view would be there's at least a faction of the administration that wants to attack Iran.
Yes, clearly. And I think there are a couple parts of it we have to understand. One of them is, and again, I would disagree with the ambassador. I remember, and we've been told this in a number of books that have been released about the administration. This is not about the Iranian nuclear program. In fact, that may be just the cover, as it was in Iraq, for other things. This is about the Iranian involvement in Iraq. We'll talk more and more about that. It's about the Iranian support of Hezbollah. I would argue, even if we found a solution to the Iranian nuclear enrichment, we would still find the administration not be willing to go down that road. Because, you know, from things written about the way the vice president thinks, when anybody attacks the United States, Iran has done that in numbers of cases. They're doing that right now in Iran. They have to be punished, or others will follow and do the same thing. So I think this is
okay. Let's follow that up. Could you do it? What does that military option look like? You've war gamed this. You've done a number of war games, both professionally, in service and out of service. And you did the most famous, which was the series you did with the Atlantic Monthly with James Fallows. That was 2 years ago now. What do you think the plan looks like now? If we could push it, what would we do?
One of the reasons why the option is relatively attractive is because it's easy to do. It's not an invasion. It's not the kind of thing that people had talked about at one time. It's not certainly like Thunder Run to Baghdad. Penetrations of Iranian airspace, and I would bet the president has been advised very low casualties or no casualties. Am I starting to make it sound attractive? It will punish Iran. Now, Flynt said we can't invest it. We don't know where the targets are. We don't know the unknowns. But if you understand the objective is to punish Iran, not just deal with the nuclear program, you don't need to know where the targets are. Because it is the purpose of showing you can't treat the United States this way. And one of the arguments, I think it's going to become more and more apparent, because we are going to see more and more stuff in least about the Iranian involvement in Iraq. And it will start with that argument, that they are the part of the problem we have there now. They are. But it's going to become more and more apparent, and the pressure is going to grow to do that.
Actually, so we do that. We do, let's say, it comes to this, we do 5 nights. We talk about 750 man plans. The problem is what happens next. Ambassador Pickering was talking about this. What do the Iranians do on day 6?
The Iranians have a notion that really, I'm sure they wouldn't use this word, but it goes back to the Cold War, which is what we used to call horizontal escalation. In other words, if you can't take on the bad guys directly, you take them on in an indirect way. You couldn't take on the Soviets in Central Europe, so the idea was you went to the northern flank. Their concept of this kind of deterrence
همطور که ملاحظه میکنید امباسادور پیکرینگ با فاصله با بقیه ها نشسته، چون اون 3 نفر دیگر بسیار لابیستی ایرانیا دارن میکنن.
Ahura Pirouz Yazdi. I'm the president of Hakha Movement. Hakha Movement for Freedom and Democracy. This movement exists 2,564 years since Cyrus the Great. It was painful for me, an old Iranian, to hear whenever you want to talk about Mullahs or Islamic regime, you mention Iranians. Sir, gentlemen, Iranians are Persians. They do not speak Arabic. They are not Islamic. Their country has been invaded by a group of mullahs, non-Iranian. My people are hostage, and today you are asking the question. Okay, the question is, 70% of my people are young people, not Islam. They are ready to machine change. The question is why the United States doesn't support Persian Iranian people who want regime change and want to get rid of these mullahs as soon as possible. Last 6 days they showed again another demonstration all over Iran, and as a matter of fact, I called on my TV station twice.
We understand, Mr.
The nuclear power, the Iranians, the nuclear weapons state, so there's a United States. But I mean, a period of time for that, base drawdown, so there was a base drawdown, but in the last 3 years, I'm concerned about how low can you go, why could they make stockpiles a lot smaller? That concern, I think, has disappeared, but certainly drifted out of the
I don't know if they're ready. They're looking at what's going on in France, and they at this point. It is the Iranians themselves want at this point. They do, but they're not going to go. Yeah, no, I agree with that. But that's the part about how much they want to do. There's not going to be, it's not a revolutionary situation. They're not going to take the streets. There's not going to be a Well, I hope you're right. But that's the kiss of death to any Iranian patriot. U.S. money, U.S. support, kiss of death. We
just don't want you to support the mullahs and call them the Iranians. They imagine you want to come to Taliban and negotiate with Taliban in regard to the Afghanistan. Exactly what you're doing. Iranian Persian Iranians are not have the people they were not. They have been forced.
Well, I actually enjoy talking to you more about this.
You have my card.
I have your card. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is your man?
Yes, sir. Pirouz, yes, Pirouz. Pirouz Yazdi. Are you agree with the Iranian people that they want to change the regime by themselves? Only thing they want that the United States will not help them. They don't call, you must not call them Iranians. They are not. Like you want to go to negotiate with Taliban. They invaded our country. They changed, they are under the...
This is a Zoroastrian perspective.
He's talking to a woman whose father was a Syrian, so, you know.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I only wanted you to get to the question.